As the death toll rises, Muslims in Taiwan are doing their part to help victims of the deadly earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. Taiwan's borders have reopened, and now its air capacity to North America and Europe is expected to grow more than 200% this year. A Taiwanese shoemaking company sparks concerns for labor rights in Myanmar. Plus, we take a look at a fundraising campaign for Ukraine highlighting the power of women. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Leslie Liao. The 72-hour window for finding survivors of Monday's earthquake that shook Turkey and Syria has closed. But thousands of survivors remain, and humanitarian efforts to help the displaced are now ramping up. Sally Jensen has the story.
90 hours. That's how long 10-year-old Hilal was trapped under rubble. Rescuers had to amputate her arm to free her. Removing the block crushing her would have put her in more danger. Hilal was one of the lucky ones who survived Monday's earthquake. The magnitude 7.8 tremor has devastated parts of Turkey and Syria, killing over 20,000 people. This number is likely to rise. Rescue workers from the region and beyond have been working round the clock. Braving sub-zero temperatures, they hope to save as many lives as possible. A day earlier, this baby was saved from the verge of death. But for many families, it is already too late. The chance of finding people alive in the rubble has faded. This is the deadliest quake since the magnitude 7 tremor that hit Haiti in 2010, that killed over 100,000. Tens of thousands of survivors have been evacuated. Across Turkey and Syria, many are taking refuge from the bitter cold in makeshift shelters. The focus is now shifting to help these displaced families. Countries from all over the world have been sending aid and rescue teams. On Thursday, the first of 6 trucks of aid from the United Nations arrived in Syria.
We need the cross-border resolution to continue, and we need the cross-border assistance to continue in these very early days, because if we do not, every day, every moment, we're losing more and more people.
Teams from Taiwan have also been helping the rescue effort. The international community and the World Bank have offered billions of dollars in emergency assistance for what the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has called the disaster of the century. And while the world mourns for Turkey and Syria, the focus is now on helping those who made it out alive. Asnaya Joel and Sally Jensen for TaiwanPlus.
The Taipei Grand Mosque hosted a donation drive to help people affected by the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. Muslims in Taiwan feel a shared bond with those Islamic countries. Bing Wang went to the mosque to find out more.
It's the Friday noon prayers here at Taipei Grand Mosque, the most important weekly prayer for Muslims. And every week, worshippers would donate some of their money towards the mosque. But this week, that money is being put aside for victims of the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. Muslims here began with a special prayer to remember the tens of thousands of people killed in the earthquake.
At this very sad moment, the Muslim in Taiwan, we want to share our love with the brother and sister who lost their life in Turkey and Syria. And at the same time, the Muslim Association of Taiwan already started a campaign requesting and encouraging the Muslim in Taiwan to donate and get resources.
Also at the Taipei Grand Mosque, a Turkish professor and Syrian student with loved ones still in their home country.
虽然我的家人不是在东南部那边，可是我有在那边一些认识的人，以前住在台湾的2位朋友，联络不到他们，还在到现在都联络不到他们。
I think it's a very heartbreaking and devastating for a lot of people because For Turkey, they do have some difficulties economic-wise or whatever. But for Syria, they have it worse than other countries. They have the sanctions and limit with electricity or water.
Taiwan has so far sent $2 million as well as 130 aid workers and several rescue dogs to help in the recovery efforts. But beyond government assistance, many here feel a very close connection with the people in Syria and Turkey. And that's why they're following the situation very closely, helping out however they can. Eason Chen and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
The chair of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee has said Washington needs to be more ambitious in its diplomatic competition with China. His comments came at a hearing where another senator said Washington needed to step up support for Taiwan. James Chata reports.
The chair of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Bob Menendez, here telling the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State that Washington isn't doing enough to compete diplomatically with China.
The China challenge affects every region in the world, and you're going to have to do a better job of resourcing these efforts.
His comments came at a hearing of the U.S. committee he chairs. It's the same body that promoted the Taiwan Enhanced Resilience Act, passed last year. That legislation earmarked $10 billion in grants for military assistance to Taiwan. But another senator, James Risch, said the act was not being adequately funded.
The Biden administration said over and over again that it supports security assistance to Taiwan. However, it did nothing to advocate for Taiwan during the appropriations process.
The US is the main arms provider to Taiwan, which hopes to deter a Chinese invasion. China claims Taiwan as part of its territory and has threatened to take the country by force. At the Senate committee hearing, Deputy US Secretary of State Wendy Sherman reiterated Washington's support for Taiwan.
Our policy has not changed. What has changed is Beijing's growing coercion. So we will keep assisting Taiwan in maintaining a sufficient self-defense capability.
Responding to Sherman's comments, Taiwan's foreign ministry thanked the US for its support, adding, in the face of expansionist and provocative military actions by China, Taiwan's government will continue to strengthen its self-defense capability and deepen the close security ties between the US and Taiwan. US-China ties soured this week after Washington shot down an alleged Chinese spy balloon flying over US airspace. On Thursday, US lawmakers voted 419-0 to condemn what they called the balloon's brazen violation of US sovereignty. China maintains the balloon was a civilian airship.
我想这可能是美方对中国进行信息舆论战的一部分。
The balloon is the latest sore spot in US-China ties, and it's against that backdrop that tensions over Taiwan continue to simmer. Alex Chen and James Chata for TaiwanPlus.
Air travel in Taiwan and internationally is gradually returning to pre-pandemic levels. American plane maker Boeing on Friday said that Taiwan's passenger traffic will be pushed higher in 2023 by travel within Asia and further afield. Louise Watt reports.
Taiwan and the rest of the world are open for travel again. That means demand for planes will soar, according to plane maker Boeing. It projects the global fleet will double in 20 years. Boeing says globally there will be more than 41,000 new planes within the next 20 years. The Northeast Asia region, which includes Taiwan, Japan and South Korea, will need 1,345 new planes. Taiwan reopened in October, and now its flight operations are at about 75% of pre-pandemic levels. Boeing's regional marketing director says Taiwan's about 10 to 12 months behind other parts of the world, but it's on track to grow in 2023.
We're expecting massive growth in terms of added capacity from Taiwan to North America, throughout Asia, and into Europe. At over 300% capacity growth or supply growth into North America, about 250% growth into Europe, and continued growth throughout the Asia region.
Globally, air travel has recovered to 77% of pre-pandemic levels, but in Asia-Pacific as a whole, it's just 57%, brought down by China, which only reopened its borders in January. Asia is an important focus for Boeing. This is Boeing's first in-person briefing in Taiwan since the pandemic. Before COVID struck, Boeing was looking to the Asia region to boost long-term growth. And now that China, Taiwan, and other countries have lifted pandemic restrictions, Asia-Pacific is expected to account for more than 40% of new planes over the next 20 years. Ricky and Louise Watt in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
A senior official from Taiwan's main opposition party says Taiwan and China should, quote, avoid political differences to protect trade. Andrew Xia, pictured here on the left, is the vice chair of the Kuomintang, or KMT. He made the statement in Beijing on Thursday during a meeting with China's top Taiwan policymaker Song Tao. This is Xia's second trip to China in less than a year. The KMT says it's meant to boost dialogue with Beijing and smooth over disagreements. At the meeting, Song Tao said China will keep working to resolve what Beijing calls the Taiwan issue. Taiwan's agency for handling ties with China criticized Song's words. It says cross-strait relations should be based on respect for each side's sovereignty. Taiwan has launched a new official cybersecurity organization following several high-profile data leaks. The National Institute of Cybersecurity will be overseen by the country's digital ministry. Last month, a number of public figures and celebrities saw personal information leaked on the internet. That's after hackers breached the security of China Airlines, Taiwan's flag carrier. And this week, a local car share platform, iRent, was fined after more than 400,000 of its users had their information leaked. Vice Premier Zheng Wen-can opened the new institute on Thursday. He said the government wants tougher penalties for leaking personal data.
包括这一次 iRent 整个事件2周内要做成处分的决策，个资法10年未修。 所以目前的罚则是2万到20万，这个太轻了。我们会推动修法，把这个罚则提高。
Labor rights activists in Taiwan are demanding the government take steps to protect people working for Taiwanese companies based abroad. It comes after a strike at a Taiwanese footwear manufacturer in Myanmar. Yu Jinghuang has this report.
Demanding a fair wage. Over 2,000 workers at a factory in Myanmar, striking last October. They wanted a pay raise as they struggled to make ends meet amid soaring inflation. But this protest was short-lived. The company the workers were protesting against is Taiwanese footwear manufacturer Baocheng. 26 of the strikers were fired. Some later resumed their positions after signing agreements promising not to join union activities again. That's despite one of Baocheng's biggest clients, sportswear giant Adidas, speaking out against the firing. It's not the first time that Taiwanese companies have been known to collaborate with local authorities to shut down protests. In 2016, Formosa Plastics tried to suppress voices speaking out against its dumping of toxic waste around its facility in Vietnam. Taiwanese activists and the lawmaker are now calling for new regulations to protect laborers working for Taiwanese enterprises abroad.
像这样子的不当，甚至是成为国际丑闻的这个行为，台湾的政府相关的部会其实不应该一无所知。
Baocheng has more than 7,000 workers in its factory in Myanmar, with almost 85% not local to the area. Average fees for housing, commuting, and other daily expenses for a worker living out of town are about $131 a month, but the monthly salary is only $68. That's as Myanmar continues to deal with the aftermath of a military coup carried out by the ruling junta in 2021. Inflation stood at more than 16% in 2022, almost double the world average. Life under the junta has made it increasingly difficult for workers to fight for their rights. But the lack of regulation of Taiwanese companies isn't making the situation any easier.
台湾说真的，目前没有任何相关的法律可以规范这样。唯一勉勉强强可能有关的就是一个公司投资国外处理办法啊，它里面有一个条款说，如果一个投资案它有破坏国家形象的状况的话，那可以不核准投资。但是这个也只限于投资出去之前。
The European Union proposed a new law last year that would hold EU-registered companies accountable for their behavior in other jurisdictions. That means they can be punished for human rights violations and environmental damage. Were Taiwan to follow in its footsteps, it would go a long way to proving its credentials as a true leader for human rights in Asia. Howard Zhang and Eugene Huang for TaiwanPlus.
Coming up, Taiwan's universities work to give disadvantaged students a chance at a higher education. Details after the break.
One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Okay. For more stories from here in Taiwan and around the world, please make sure to download the TaiwanPlus app.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Ukraine says its southern and eastern regions have come under heavy fire from Russian missiles and drones. The governor of the Lugansk region said on Thursday that a major new large-scale Russian attack has begun. It comes just weeks before the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is currently wrapping up a tour of European capitals. Zelensky has asked Western nations to provide more weapons to his country, including fighter jets. Since Russia's war on Ukraine began, people from all over the world have come together to help Ukrainians. And here in Taiwan, it's no different. One local fundraiser has set out to send money to Ukraine and draw attention to the strength of women caught up in the conflict. These children at an orphanage in Ukraine are sending a special thank you all the way to Taiwan. Their message is for Chata Power, an online crowdfunding campaign that has raised over $60,000 for the war-torn country. Chata means girl in Ukrainian. As well as sending assistance to Ukraine, this initiative is also about highlighting the power of women.
This work cannot continue without the help of the females, and normally they're the most forgotten ones.
Ray Shi, who is from Taiwan, is Chata Power's organizer. She's a designer by trade and an activist at heart.
It all started because my boyfriend is Ukrainian, obviously, but even without him, I will still do this no matter what, because I think that's what everyone should be doing.
And it's this outlook that led a group of Ukrainian women living in Taiwan to approach her. They wanted to collect donations to help Ukraine's defense.
So I told them that, okay, so why don't we start up this fundraising project? And since we are all female here, so the story should be like female in Taiwan helping like those in Ukraine.
The Chata Power campaign offered gifts like hand soaps and skincare products to those who made donations. These items were often given by women-run businesses.
We have a lot of helps from Taiwanese female entrepreneurs. For example, we have like this lady from Taichung, and the company of them do like fabrics. So when I called her, she immediately donated like few hundreds of these bags.
One notable offering is this set of candles, each one representing a different city in Ukraine. Arina Havrilova, who comes from the frontline city of Kharkiv, explains what's so special about them.
Ray asked each girl from 4 cities to say what smells do they have in mind for their city. This smell is mostly floral and fresh, symbolizing all the flower beds in my city and all the water fountains.
Donors who pledged larger amounts could receive a vishvanka, a traditional Ukrainian embroidered shirt which Irina stitched herself.
Red wine, red color means love, and the black color means sadness. So it brings together, it kind of symbolizes how Ukrainian girls felt back in the days when their fathers or husbands went to the war.
Irina came to Taiwan 5 years ago when she was just 13 to pursue a modeling career. She says even though she's half a world away, she's determined to do whatever she can to help people in her home country.
People shouldn't be scared of what's going to happen and just live in the present, that's all. It makes me feel better that I can help my hometown and people in my country. Also, just when we have meeting together, it feels nice to be around my people.
The Chata Power's original goal was to raise around $3,300, but the project has taken in almost 20 times that amount. It has a message that resonates with people across the world. Div Chata Power is not just a fundraiser, it's also a statement about the strength and stamina of women. Universities in Taiwan are launching special admissions programs for disadvantaged students. As John Van Triest reports, it's an attempt to level the playing field in a country where access to quality education can be extremely unequal.
18-year-old Yang Shuting is on her way to university. For many her age, going from school into higher education is seen as a normal part of life. But Shuting had to overcome some major obstacles in order to make it to where she is now. Shuting is second-generation Taiwanese, born to a Vietnamese immigrant. Hers is a single-parent household. When she was an infant, money was so tight she was sent to live with her grandparents in Vietnam. That's where she grew up. And so, when she came back to Taiwan in her teens, she didn't speak the language.
4年前才回台湾，然后学中文就是很辛苦。然后在读书上面，我就是想说我的中文不好，所以要比别人更努力。
Her family's finances were a persistent problem, and she had to find a balance between her earning money and focusing on her education.
晚上下课的时候，他会去打工，因为经济的关系，所以他其实都用白天在学校的时间，他就在读书，因为他知道晚上回家可能没有时间读书。但他在高一就维持在校排1%左右的成绩。
But Shuting's hard work paid off. She received one of 50 places in a special admissions program for disadvantaged students. And she's been accepted to National Taiwan University, the most prestigious in the country. As Shuting's principal explains, some universities are now trying to even out the inequalities in Taiwan's education system.
台湾在都市城乡差距，你说没有，事实上还是有。那城乡差距就在于整个教育资源的不均。那所以我们教育部事实上有所谓的均质化。 事实上就是要缩短整个一个教育资源的差距。
Social inequalities affect the lives of countless young people in Taiwan, whether they're regional or financial, as with Shuting. That's why local universities are working to make sure that every student will have equal access to the education they want. Klein Wong and John Van Triest for TaiwanPlus.
After 6 years and with a price tag of more than $500 million, New Taipei's latest light railway is officially open to the public. The Ankeng Line runs for 7.5 kilometers through Xingdian District, just south of Taipei. It's just a small part of New Taipei's plan to have almost 140 kilometers of rail and more than 120 metro stations built by 2030. The Ankeng Line is khaki-colored on transport maps. It will also be free to ride for the next month. At the opening ceremony on Friday, New Taipei's mayor said almost half the railway was made in Taiwan.
开始推动国车国造安康轻轨，已经达到42%，带动我们国家整个捷运设备设施产业国产化。
Now, all pet owners think their animal is special, but this senior pup has a Guinness World Record to his name. Eric Gao explains.
Meet Bobby. He's not doing terribly much right now, but he's got a very good excuse. He's the world's oldest dog as certified by Guinness World Records. Bobby is a Jafeiro do Alentejo, a Portuguese breed that has an average lifespan of 13 years. But Bobby here is almost 31. How old is that in human years? Dog age charts don't even go that high. Bobby's owner, Liao Costa, says his long life is down to good living.
Podemos enumerar 3 ou 4 fatores, mas este de viver no campo, junto à agricultura, natureza, sem dúvida, na minha opinião, é dos 3 fatores principais da longevidade do Bobby.
Costa says Bobby's health is also thanks to him being free to roam.
O facto de nunca ter estado acorrentado na vida, estar preso a uma corrente, acho que, ou uma gaiola, seja o que for, o Bobby, como nunca esteve preso, acho que aquela sensação de liberdade tem sido fator também importante. E claro, o nosso amor e carinho a vida toda também tem ajudado, mas de facto ele é que é o obreiro deste feito.
Lionel was just 8 years old when Bobby was born, so they grew up together. He's hoping their lifelong friendship will continue for a few more years to come. Leon Lien and Eric Gao for TaiwanPlus.
That's incredible. Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave you with images of king penguins at Taipei Zoo acting like kings. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.